Welcome to Exploring Orthodoxy, and we're continuing today our talk on St. John CLIMACUS with Geronda Savvas Lavriotis. How are you, Geronda?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's good. All right, so we were looking at the ladder of divine ascent, which this is the second video, and it'll be in the playlist for people to catch up. So basically, it's a spiritual guide which outlines the path to spiritual perfection, and that there's a gradual ascent to holiness because there's different stages that people have to go through to help themselves develop spiritually. Is that correct, Geronda?
Exactly, exactly.
All right, so we're actually up to, it was step one, the renunciation of the world, and we're up to point 15. So I'll read a bit and then you can, sort of explain it as we go, Yeronda. Can you
Okay.
see the text okay?
Now, yes, with my
Okay.
glasses. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so point 15. Let us eagerly run our course as men called by our God and King, lest since our time is short, we be found in the day of our death without fruit and perish of hunger. Let us please the Lord as soldiers please their King, because we are required to give an exact account of our service after the campaign. Let us fear the Lord not less than we fear beasts. For I have seen men who were going to steal and were not afraid of God. For hearing the barking of dogs, they at once turned back. And what the fear of God could not achieve was done by the fear of animals. Let's see how long this is. I'll just read all of 15. Where were we? Yes. Let us love God at least as much as we respect our friends. For I have often seen people who had offended God and were not in the least perturbed about it. And I've seen how those same people provoked their friends in some trifling matters and then employed every artifice, every device, every sacrifice, every apology, both personally and through friends and relatives, not sparing gifts in order to regain their former love. Do you want to talk about this point, Yeronda?
Here, it's very obvious that the main idea of the asceticism is that it's the memory of death. It's that we have always to remember that we are living this temporary life, and the main idea, as I said to you before, in Christianity, is that we are temporary here, and that we must prepare ourselves for the eternal life. That's why uh, he mentioned this, that we have to be prepared, and the main reason that we have to think about it also is the love of God, because whatever we do, we have to do according to the love of God. We have to, whatever we do in our lives, even if we take the Holy Communion, even if we are fasting, even if we are confessing, even if we are give charity, or whatever we do, that we call it spiritual life, we do it for the love, for the sake and the love of God, to um, uh, uh, how can I say this word? To love God, very simple, you know. And if someone start to love God in reality, then he understand the meaning of life. That's why here Saint John speaks about love of God, because we don't love Him as we have to love Him with a pure love, because we have to understand what he gave us, and if we succeed to love him the way that we have to do, then we will understand also the meaning of life. The mysteries of God will open to us, because this is the main reason of the spiritual life, to clean ourselves from the sin and from the passions, and then to replace all these bad things with the love of God, that we will become what we have to be, and why. And also, this is the reason that God created us, because God created us to experience His divine love that He is spreading to every people, and this is the mystery of the asceticism.
And it says, let us please the Lord as soldiers please their king, because we are required to give an exact account of our service after the campaign.
Yes, it's very important, because many people speaks about only about love, and God love us, and He will forgive us. Yes, God will forgive us. God loves us, but He is going to judge also, and He will be fair. That's why we don't have only to use, in a way, love in our lives only in this side, but also from the side of the justice. Because if we don't do what we have to do, then we will be in a very difficult place in the judgment day. And this is what St. John says inside.
Because at Judgment Day, we're going to need to give the exact account of our service after the campaign, so after our death.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
let us fear the Lord, not less than we fear beasts. So when someone goes to steal something and they hear the dogs barking, they're afraid and they run away. At the same time, one should fear what they do, because, God is actually looking or watching.
We will see many times this. Saint John is using examples, so we will understand more what he's meaning, and this is very important, because with these examples we understand what we have to do, and this is real, because sometimes we have fear for people or for animals, but we don't fear God, that this is what we have to do. We don't have to fear no one. We have to feel fear for no one, because this fear is not existing. But the fear of God is always there.
Yeah, and to love God just as much as you respect your friends, at least
We
as
have to
at least as much.
we have to love Him much, much more
The
than
very
our friends.
the very least, like you do your friends, the very least. And
Yes,
uh,
exactly.
yes, because then it gave that example, which was interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. Point 16. In the very beginning of our renunciation, it is certainly with labor and grief that we practice the virtues. But when we have made progress in them, we no longer feel sorrow, or we feel little sorrow. But as soon as our mortal mind is consumed and mastered by our alacrity, we practice them with all joy and eagerness, with love and with divine fire.
Yeah, it's very. If you don't experience this, you will never understand what he wants to say here. This is something that is very important, that Saint John is mentioned, because he says that in the very beginning of our renunciation of the world and of the people, and this worldly thing, uh, it's very difficult to practice the virtue, and you are grieving and you have pain, because you are living something that you liked in fact, and it's like you are rip out something that it was there for many years, and it's not easy. And then in this progress, you will not feel sorrow, because of these things that you left behind, this life, we can say. And even if you feel a little sorrow, this is going to be vanish when you are practicing more and more the virtue, and then joy will come to you, because then you will understand the love of God, and you will understand something very important, how temporary all these things are, and the only eternal is the love of God and God. And if you understand this, all the sorrow will go away.
Okay. Point 17. Those who at once, from the very outset, follow the virtues and fulfill the commandments with joy and alacrity certainly deserve praise. And in the same way, those who spend a long time in asceticism and still find it a weariness to obey the commandments, if they obey them at all, certainly deserve pity.
Yeah, this is something that here Saint John is very strictive, and but he is right, like always, because when you spend a lot of time in ascetism, in monastic life, and you don't find joy, and you don't find the meaning of life, it means that you don't do it right, because if you do it right, then you will explore, and you will understand the meaning of this life, and joy will come to you. And in fact, now St. John says that it's impossible for someone that is living the monastic life as he have to do, not to find the joyness and the happiness and what is fulfill the person. And if you don't do, then you deserve pity, because you left all these things behind, and you didn't manage to have joy in your life, because this is the point, to feel the eternity, to feel God. And if you don't feel this, why you left all these things?
Yeah, so point 18, let us not even abhor or condemn the renunciation due merely to circumstances. I have seen men who had fled into exile meet the emperor by accident, and when he was on tour, then join his company, enter his palace, and dine with him. I have seen seed casually fall on the earth and bear plenty of thriving fruit. And I have seen the opposite too. I've also seen a person come to a hospital with some other motive, but the courtesy and kindness of the physician overcame him. And on being treated with an astringent, he got rid of the darkness that lay on his eyes. Thus, for some, the unintentional was stronger and more sure than what was intentional in others.
Let not judge, say the Saint John, because we don't know in what circumstances people deny this world and go to the monastic life. And maybe you will see some people that they have good opportunities, and they go to the monastery with a good mood and all these things, but they don't find God. And some other times we see some people that they go there, and without probabilities to grow spiritually, and they go there because they went for one reason that is not the spiritual life, but to avoid some things, but you don't know the result, you don't know the end of its one that left this world and go to the monastic life. That's why St. John says that I saw some people that they went there without opportunities, and but I saw them that they was growing spiritually, because they understood inside them what is the monastic life and what is the purpose of life. And then they left everything, and they had a spiritual growth that is very nice, and he saw also the opposite. That's why we don't have to judge people that they come to the monastic life and for the reason that they come, because we don't know the end of them.
And it sounds like also that God is always giving people opportunities to discover Him. That people who were going for some reason to do something else find God, because the door or the opportunities open at different points in life all the time, maybe.
For everybody, not only for us, not only for me and for you, or for people that they go to the monastic life to experience the monastic life, but for everybody, God is opening doors, not doors, but we don't see these things because we don't uh, we don't explore our spiritual life. That's why we don't see how God is working in our lives or in the lives of people.
Yeah, because even with our talks here, for example, someone might come across this talk that's never studied the Bible or read some of the saint books, and this might just be a door that opens for them. That's
That's
interesting.
why we
Mm.
Yes, that's why we do it also. Of course, we are also taking so many things by reading this, but but also other people will take if they are open.
Mm. Point 19, let no one, by appealing to the weight and multitude of his sins, say that he is unworthy of the monastic vow, and for love or of pleasure disparage himself, excusing himself with excuses in his sins. Where there is much corruption, considerable treatment is needed to draw out all the impurity. The healthy do not go to a hospital.
Yeah, this is very easy to understand that many people, because uh, they don't want to leave these pleasures and these disconnected. They don't want to be disconnected by the world and by all these pleasures that the world is giving to you. They uh, they say that they are unworthy for the monastic life and it's not for us, it's for the worthy people and we are not worth it. No, it's not right to say this, because it's not that we are not worthy, it's because we don't want to lose all these things that we have. And
Mm.
that's why it's better to say that I don't want to go because I'm corrupted inside and I want to keep this, and than to say excuses that I'm not worthy and only the say holy people that goes there. They don't go the holy people there. They go the people that they want to become holy. You know?
Mm. Yes, all right. Point 20. If an earthly king were to call us and request us to serve in his presence, we should not delay for other orders. We should not make excuses, but we should leave everything and eagerly go to him. Let us then be on alert, lest when the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords and God of Gods calls us to this heavenly office, we cry off we cry off out of sloth and cowardice and find ourselves without excuse at the last judgment. It is possible to walk even when tied with the fetters of worldly affairs and iron cares, but only with difficulty. For even those who have iron chains on their feet can often walk, but they are continually stumbling and getting hurt. An unmarried man who is only tied to the world by business affairs is like one who has fetters on his hands, and therefore, when he wishes to enter the monastic life, he has nothing to hinder him. But the married man is like one who is bound hand and foot. So when he wants to run, he cannot.
Yeah. Here we see that this invitation to the monastic life is coming from God, and it's very the honor is so big that he's doing to us when he's giving this call, because we don't have to forget that we have a call to the monastic life. No one can go to become monk if he don't have this call, this invitation, this personal invitation. Nobody can become monk or a nun if it is a woman, if he don't have or she this personal invitation. That's why St. John says that we have to run if God give us this special invitation for the monastic life. Otherwise, because when the king of an earthly king invite us to a dinner or something else, we are going running. If the heavenly king is invite us to his kingdom and to the monastic life, we are not supposed to run much more faster. This is the idea. And that's why it says that if you are an unmarried man, you can go easily because you don't have all these responsibilities. That's why maybe your hands are tied because of this way of living that you have, but your feet are free to run. But
Yes.
if you are married, yes, this is impossible because you have your children, you have your wife, and all these things that they connect you with these things, and it's very difficult.
Point 21. Some people living carelessly in the world have asked me, we have wives and are beset with social cares, and how can we lead the solitary life? I replied to them, do all the good you can, do not speak evil of anyone, do not steal from anyone, do not lie to anyone, do not be arrogant towards anyone, do not hate anyone, be sure you go to church, be compassionate to the needy, do not offend anyone, do not wreck another man's domestic happiness, and be content with what your own wives can give you. If you behave in this way, you will not be far from the kingdom of heaven.
Yes, here are some spiritual advising from St. John, to the people that they are not able to go to the monastic life. These are the basic things that not that the monks have to possess these things. And this is the way for a person that lives inside the world to save himself and to go to God. Because in the last sentence, if you see, he says, if you behave in this way, you will not be far from the kingdom of heaven. He didn't say you will be in the kingdom of heaven, you will not be far. So you didn't enter the kingdom of heaven by doing these things. We have to do more than this. You have to, you don't have not to be arrogant towards anyone only. This is the beginning. You have to love also the people. These are some things that you have to start your spiritual life. And then he says, do not hate anyone. But he don't say love everybody as yourself. Why? Because these information and these rules that Saint John gives to these people is the beginning of the spiritual life. That if you do it, you continue and you proceed to the spiritual life, and then you go to the perfection that is not only to be arrogant towards anyone, but to be humble towards anyone. Is not only to be not to hate anyone, but to love everybody as yourself and to sacrifice yourself. That's why it's very important that what we do, that we analyze this text, because for someone it seems to be very okay, we read it, and no, we have to take to extract from the text what what Saint John is meant to say. It's very difficult. This spiritual book, we don't only have to read it, just to read it. We have to study it, to explore the meanings, the spiritual meanings inside. You see, it's not so easy to just to read and to go from it. That's why we go slowly, because we have to see these meanings inside.
There's a lot of information he's covering because he's saying, you have to behave a certain way to start making your progress towards the kingdom of heaven. It's not
Exactly.
believing,
As you said, yes.
behave a certain way.
Exactly. As you said, to start your spiritual trip, this is the starting. It's not even the middle, it's the start.
the steps. You got to take one step at a time to go in the direction. Point 22, let us charge into the good fight with joy and love without being afraid of our enemies. Though unseen themselves, they can look at the face of our soul, and if they see it altered by fear, they take up arms against us all the more fiercely. For the cunning creatures have observed that we are scared. So let us take up arms against them courageously. No one will fight with a resolute fighter.
Yes, when someone goes to the monastic life and he is afraid, the demons can see this, because they observe and they can see deeply. They don't see only our expressions, but they can see the fear that we are feeling. And if the devil sees this, that we are afraid, then he take courage and he's fighting more. That's why he wants to make us disappointed from our sins, from everything. And when we are disappointed, we don't have the courage to fight. That's why when we are starting this fight, we have to start with courageous, with braveness. So he will see that we are not afraid. We are not afraid to fall. We are not afraid to be injured by him. We are not afraid to do mistakes, or that we are not afraid that we are going to deal with him. And if he sees this, then he is stepping back, not us.
So part of the behavior is to have courage and be brave.
Exactly. And this is only when we see and when we understand that God is with us, and he can do something to us if God is not allowing him.
Point 23, the Lord designedly makes easy the battles of beginners so that they should not immediately return to the world at the outset. And so rejoice in the Lord always, all servants of his, detecting in this the first sign of the Master's love for us, and a sign that he himself has called us. But when God sees courageous souls, he has often been known to act in this way. He lets them have conflicts from the very beginning in order to crown them the sooner. But the Lord hides the difficulty of this contest from those in the world. For if they were to know, no one would renounce the world.
Yeah, this is something very important. In the beginning of this paragraph says that he is hiding in the beginners all these, because all these difficulties that the monastic life have. Because the truth is that yes, nobody will, even if you have an invitation from God, you don't go there if you see how difficult it is and the responsibilities that you have as a monk. And when you fall in sins, that is not the same thing as the other people, because you take vows and you have to be very accurate in your spiritual life and all these things, because you become a soldier of Christ, and you have to be perfect. You have the help of God, but it's very difficult. And that's why immediately you return to the word if you understand the difficulties. That's why God is giving us love for him and for the monastic life. So this love is going to vanish everything else. But it's very important that God wants us to have courage in our souls and to be brave, not to be afraid of the devil, and not to be afraid that, okay, sometimes we are not going to make it, we are not going to manage to go through, we are going to fall, or we are not going to be the perfect people, but we have to conquer this virtue, these heights of virtues. That's why God wants us to our effort, and the result is him, what he is doing, because he is going to win, not us. And this is the courage of us, and this bravery that we have to have, that we are nothing, and we rely all everything that we have in the God power, and we are nothing. We have to be humble in this. This is what God wants from the people that they go to the monastic life: humbleness
And
and braveness.
isn't it interesting that St. John CLIMACUS says that the Lord designs the battles for the beginners. He makes them easy so that the beginner does not change their mind straight away and go back to the world. And that's actually the first sign from God that he has love for us, that he gives us an easy battle that we can win and progress.
Yes, and also it's revealing us that um, he controls everything. He controls everything, all the lives of people. He designed all people's lives, not me only that I'm a monk or you, everybody. You know, if you go to this spiritual struggle and this spiritual fight, God is observing you and He's coaching you. No, and he is not allow the demons to fight you more than you can handle. And it's very important that we have to rely on him and to trust him, not only to believe him, but more to trust in him.
Yeah, so God discerns our heart by giving us some of these battles in the beginning to see how we'll behave, and in order to crown the person later.
Yes, and something very important. If he allows to people, to new monks, to deal, to fight as the experienced monks, then nobody is going to win, and everybody will renounce the monastic life and they will go back to the world because they will say that this is much, much more harder than we thought, and we renounce it. We go back, and they will retreat. You know.
And this is also for people who are not monks. This is the spiritual steps for laity as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
Point 24, offer to Christ the labors of your youth, and in your old age you will rejoice in wealth of dispassion. What is gathered in youth nourishes and comforts those who are tired out in old age. In our youth, let us labor ardently, and let us run vigilantly, for the hour of death is unknown. We have very evil and dangerous, cunning, unscrupulous foes who hold fire in their hands and try to burn the temple of God with the flame that is in it. These foes are strong. They never sleep. They are incorporeal and invisible. Let no one, when he is young, listen to his enemies, the demons, when they say to him, do not wear out your flesh, lest you make it sick and weak. For you will scarcely find anyone, especially in the present generation, who is determined to mortify his flesh, although he might deprive himself of many pleasant dishes. The aim of this demon is to make the very outset of our spiritual life lax and negligent, and then make the end correspond to the beginning.
Yes, very important things, these, because here we see that also Saint John says that in our days you will not find someone very easily to deny himself and to go without fear and with love to this ascetic life, and not to take not to be afraid to fast and to make his body thin, and to give everything to God, because here is what he says: we have very evil and dangerous, cunning, and unscrupulous foes who hold fire in their hands and try to burn the temple of God, us, with the flame that is in it. This is something very important because our enemies, the devil, is fighting every second the monks, because we have to know that he envies monks because they are going to replace him, and they are going to take his place in heaven. That's why he's fighting so much. And when he says, "For you will find anyone, scarcely find anyone," especially in the present generation, we are speaking about the 7th century. That we have so many saints that they was doing unbelievable things. They was fasting for 1 week without eating. And they was doing things that our mind is not able to understand. That's why it's very important when you start your spiritual fight, your monastic life, for the beginners, for the monks, not to hear what the devil will say, that you have to take care of yourself and don't become skinny and all these things. But you have to go according to the laws of the asceticism, and God will give you power to go through all these things that the devil tries to take you down.
Point 25. Those who have really determined to serve Christ with the help of spiritual fathers and their own self-knowledge will strive before all else to choose a place and a way of life and a habitation and exercises suitable for them. For community life is not for all on account of greed, and not for all are places of solitude on account of anger, but each will consider what is most suited to his needs.
Exactly. You have to choose according to yourself, according to your character, where you have to go to become a monk, only to a monastery, or to some that he's alone, or to a place that there are some people together. And because it's not only one way to become a monk, the most common thing is to go to a monastery, that there are many people, and you learn to be humble and you learn obedient. But this is not the only way of monastic life. There are other types of monastic life that, according to your character, you have to choose where to go.
And the same for laity. Those who have really determined to serve Christ with the help of spiritual fathers and their own self-knowledge will strive before all else to choose a place and a way of life and a habitation and that's suitable to them.
Exactly.
It's the laity.
Exactly. Yes, we will see this. Saint John will explain more below.
Point 26. The whole monastic state consists of three specific kinds of establishment, either the retirement and solitude of a spiritual athlete, or living in silence with one or two others, or settling patiently in a community. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left, but follow the king's highway. Of the three ways of life stated above, the second is suitable for many people, for it is said, "Woe unto him who is alone when he falleth into despondency or lethargy or laziness or despair, and hath not another among men to lift him up. For where two or three are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them, said the Lord."
Exactly. This is the monastic life. We have three specific kinds of establishments, as Saint John says. Is either to be solid and retirement to be alone, but this is very difficult, and this is the top of the monastic life, or to live with two or three other people with your spiritual life, or to be in a community that is the monasteries. And usually this is the way that it goes, is that you go first to a monastery, you learn there the rules of the monastic life, you prepare yourself, you make obedience, you become humble, and you take all these weapons, we can say, that a monk must have. And then when you are mature and when you are ready to fight the devil, then you go to this solid retirement of a spiritual athlete that says, and you go alone or with two or three other people, monks, and then there you fight more and you go more deeply in the silence and in the spirituality, because when you are with many people you are not able to go deeply in the pray and in meeting yourself. This is the point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting. He's saying this is from the Bible. For where two or three are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them, said the Lord. So that's also in prayer. When you pray with two or three people, then God will be.
Yes.
Point 27. So who is a faithful and wise monk? He who has kept his fervour unabated and to the end of his life has not ceased daily to add fire to fire, fervour to fervour, zeal to zeal, love to love. This is the first step. Let him who has set foot on it not turn back.
Yes. Now, this is the conclusion. The conclusion is that who is the faith and wise monk? Who is the faith and wise person? That he kept this love and he add fire to fire, fervor to fervor, and zeal to zeal, and love to love. Because God give us, but here we have to add, we have to make more, not to make less. And if you remember the parable of the that Jesus says about the people that they gave them money, and some they gave one, some they gave 2 coins, and some they gave 5. And the one who had 5 made 10. The one who had 2 made 4. And the one who gave him 1, he kept it and he didn't multiply it. And and this is something very important. That's why we have to be wise, and we have to be faithful. And also, this is the first step to go away from the people and to renounce the world and go to a monastery. Is not even the second step, because many people think that if you become a monk, then you are holy, then you save yourself. No, you didn't save yourself. You go to this fight. You didn't stop. You didn't start the fight. You just made the first step, and you don't have to turn back, because if you turn back, then it was better not to go to this, because the sin is much more bigger than the other sins that you do, and you have to be very careful for this.
And that completes step 1, the renunciation of the world. And when we come back next time, we'll look at step 2, which will be about detachment.
Yes, very important, very, and also connected to the first step.
All right. Well, may God bless us all. Thanks again for the study, Geronda. Did you want any final words for the listeners?
For the listeners, is that as we went with the revelation, it's going slowly, because these texts are so precious and so important that we don't just, as I said before, read it. We have to study it. And the point is to extract the meanings and the gold that is hidden inside. If we don't do like this, then it's better to read something else than to read these things.
Yeah, and it's an incredible opportunity to see it in such detail, that was written by St. John CLIMACUS. It's just incredible the effort he's put into this.
Yes, exactly.
All right, then.
It's unique.
Very unique. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see everyone next time for the next study. All right. God bless.
God bless you.